Hi, I'm Sophie.
Hi, I'm Paul. And we are
SP Film Viewers.
Before we start the episode, I want to thank everyone who's listened to the show through the year, and we want to wish you
Merry Christmas!
a Happy New Year, or however you celebrate the holiday season.
Even if you're spending it with time, with family, or just a nice, well-deserved break.
Yes, very thankful for all you lovely people who have listened throughout the years, not just this year, but and supported us in any way you can.
And going on to people who have supported us, let's just say a big thank you to our patrons this year. Because I feel like they've been there throughout the year, they've supported us, they've been voting and helping us and listening to our content. So, patrons we have got is my mum. Then there's our friend Gren, who you can find on Instagram under the name cgren_draw.
We've got our podcast friends, Nico from the Good, the Bad and the Weird podcast, Mark from 100 Things Learned from Film, and Ben from Film Vloggers.
We then also have Alex, who is on Instagram under the handle Desperately Seeking Username. And then we've got his partner Shani, who is on Instagram under the handle SDOG. And then lastly but not least, the wonderful Danny Jones, who's under Weight Loss Jonesy on Instagram. And his wonderful partner,
who is our special guest for this episode, Emma, who is under the handle M_Hayton on Instagram.
Yep. And I can't wait for everyone to just listen to this episode and really fully embrace it. It's going to be a good one.
So if you want to become a Patreon, join us next year, then all you have to do is go to patreon.com/spfilmviewers and donate as little as £1 or $1.50 a month to do so, and you get to vote on a movie we watch once a month and get your name read out as we've just done. And if you would be so kind as to go to check out some of the other episodes, not just Christmas ones, over on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, and wherever else you get podcasts from. And of course, it'd be really, really nice if you left us a 5-star review over on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podchaser, and wherever else they do the scoring system.
So if you haven't followed us already, then why not? It is Christmas after all, so you need to be nice and generous and lovely. So please do follow us on any social media platform. So we're on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, under the handle SP_filmviewers. So hit that like, follow, subscribe button.
Yep, so thanks once again, and on with the episode. Bum 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum.
It's the season to be jolly and joyous. That's rubbish. We laugh.
Well, yeah, it's a time to be joyous, and we have a special guest joining us this time to talk about the Muppets Christmas Carol. We'd like to welcome friend and Patreon, Emma Hayton.
Hello, here I am.
Hello. Thanks for joining us on this. I know this is we've talked about this off air, and it's like, that you were excited to the prospect of talking about this film. So glad to have you on our show.
I'm excited. I do love Muppets Christmas Carol.
I don't feel like Paul's going to get a word in edgeways from this, because me and Emma can just literally vibe out about Muppet Christmas carols, and Paul will just be sat there like nodding.
Well, I've got some trivia facts that I can throw in now and again. I think it's going to be sort of that. So you may or may not know, but we'll see how things go. So we'll start with Emma. What your relationship is with this film? Obviously, you've probably seen it from a young age, and that's why you love it so much.
Yeah, although when we were watching it, I didn't realise that when it came out, I was only about 3, I think. I grew up watching the Muppets.
1992.
Yeah, I thought it'd come out later than that, to be honest. But yeah, I grew up watching the Muppets. I'd look on VHS and things like that, and then don't know. I from a very, very, very small age, I remember watching Muppets Christmas Carol every year at Christmas with my parents, and then
Mhm.
it's a one that I've just suppose tradition that I've brought on now that I've moved out, live with Danny and everything, and because he'd never really watched it before, and I'm like, we need to watch it. It's Christmas.
I completely agree. I think it's one of those things I've grown up. Well, the Muppets came out when I was born, basically, 1992, if that's the right.
That's the film. Yeah, the one the film came out. Yeah.
So I was 1 or 0, depending on when it arrived. And
Theatres, yeah.
but it has always been there in our household. I can never not actually remember not seeing the Muppets Christmas Carol every year. My sister is absolutely obsessed.
That's her like favorite, isn't it?
It's her favourite Christmas film of all time. For me, this is like the best Christmas Carol kind of
Yeah.
adaptation. It's got everything you need in a nutshell, but it's not too dark and sinister. It's quite light and fluffy. And I just think it makes you feel all fuzzy and Christmassy inside, and I think that's what you want in a Christmas film. And you're really late to the journey.
Yeah, it wasn't something I particularly grew up in, but I do remember. Obviously I think it was when obviously VHSs were a thing, but
Yeah.
obviously you still have them on DVDs and stuff, but you kind of had like trailers before the film started on the disc or the tape in this case, and seeing the trailer for Muppets Christmas Carol on that, and kind of like the way it was edited seemed quite dark in a way, considering what obviously it's the Muppets and it's all new of the Muppets, but I can't really remember when I first watched Muppets Christmas Carol, but from watching versions with my parents, there's been two versions that we've kind of grown up with, and there's one in particular we do tend to, or what did when I was with them at theirs over Christmas time and stuff, where that was more of obviously the more traditional retelling of the Christmas Carol, but this one is I definitely agree is more child friendly. It's not too sinister, and obviously because it's got the songs to go with it, it's a bit more upbeat and everything like that, for the most part. So yeah, it just works, and I can't really. It's probably going to be difficult to say. There's hardly anything to say like pick faults with. Can't see anybody not
Yeah.
enjoy unless you don't like the Muppets.
Who wouldn't like the Muppets?
What is there any bad things to say about it? So this might be interesting to
Yeah.
see if there is anything that we don't like at all.
And there's a few things I think that are after rewatching it so many times, and I think, oh, that's a little creepy, or like
Uh-huh.
there's some really random bits in it where I think, oh, maybe that's not aged as well as it, like other films. You can tell it's showing its age, if that makes sense.
Yeah, do you mean like the effects or something or like that?
Yeah, like the Ghost of Christmas Past. That doll is creepy. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
she
yeah.
is weird.
I've got one fact about that that I bring up right now. With the effects of that puppet, it was a specific special puppet that was made, and it was operated in a tank of water. That's why it's kind of got that like sort of like that
Ah.
the way that the cloth and everything moves, and
Mhm.
it's like green screened
Oh,
for that, so that obviously to be put onto superimposed onto the footage. So that's why it has that sort of ghostly apparition type of effect to it. So yeah, but it is. I agree. It is a bit creepy. It's like a creepy doll type.
yeah.
Yeah, I think she's like the weakest one, isn't she?
It's a weird hand as well. When she's like, take my hand. I'm like, I could not take that hand. It's very odd looking.
I completely agree. I think she's one of those ones where I always think I forget about her. I absolutely love the Christmas present.
Yeah.
Come and know me better, man. And he's the big jolly guy, and absolutely adore him. And just his ginger beard. And by the end, you can see him aging throughout.
Yeah.
And he just gives you that, I don't know, jolly, happy
Yeah.
present.
Jolly Giant, yeah, that
Yeah.
element to it.
Yeah.
And then we don't want to talk about the
Christmas future
Yeah.
yet to come.
Yeah.
The Reaper, yeah.
Every single one, always, even in the Muppets somewhat, the Christmas future scares me. Like, I remember when it being really, really little, and that used to absolutely petrify me. Just because I think it's all to do with death, isn't it? And it's just quite scary. It's like the one in Scrooged.
Mhm.
where that's quite daunting and horrific. And then
Yeah.
he's got like the, I don't know, they open up the cape and there's like
All the
children
bodies, yeah,
inside,
the
and
horrific faces, yeah, melded together and all that kind of stuff. It's obviously meant to like be scary because like, oh, what's to come and all that kind of stuff, and
Mm.
it's shapeless, voiceless creature.
Yeah, and the fact that I think in this one as well, because he doesn't have anything to say and it's just all done in like music and it's just very like ominous and yeah, I don't like it either.
should we go to the opening number? Because I just, the start of it already, before we even get going, we're like, right, okay, we've got all those Muppets on the screen, and there's so much going on when you watch it. And I think I've noticed now, rewatching it back, there's so much value that I've missed. So there's a funny line, and next time you watch it, I really, really want you, unless you've already spotted it, you have to look out for it,
Go on.
because it proper made me laugh. And I don't know if I'm just over exaggerating it now and
Hmm.
it's going to be sounding really disappointing. And it's to do with a cabbage. I think it's a cabbage,
Oh,
right?
it's a cart of vegetables, and they're gonna like, help! I'm being stolen,
Yeah.
or
And
something, or carted away, or something.
it was only this year that I actually listened to what the cabbages were saying. And I was absolutely in hysterics over it, because I was like, it's quite funny with the Muppets, we were saying, because also you've got a cabbage that's real, or talks,
Yeah,
should I say?
a Muppet, cabbage, or vegetable, whatever, and yet there's actual,
Apples that
yeah,
Rizzo and Gonzo.
or Charles Dickens in this case, as is a flogging. So it's like there's talking
Also,
apples and there's
yeah,
actual apples. So it's like a bit like like a Pluto and Goofy type of thing. One's more evolved than the other.
I thought you were going to say cheeses for us Mises. That's my favourite line from the beginning of it. I was like, every time it comes on, I like look, even when I'm singing, I stop and I just look at Danny and then I'm like, cheeses for us Mises.
And then after a while, even since I've watched the film, then I'll put, if I'm having cheese, I'll go, cheese is for the Mises. And Paul just looks at me and like, it'll kind of carry on for a week, won't it? Pretty
Mhm.
much, that line. And I don't know why, it's just so catchy the way that it's sung and
Yeah, but
everything. They're
that's
just,
that first Scrooge song. Yeah,
And I suppose it's like nice in the sense of you don't even realise that they've got that mix of humans and Muppets, and it's just done so well that you don't really realise that there's anything not wrong, but it's just done so kind of like flawlessly that
mm.
you don't even think there's anything weird about it. Like this is just the way it is,
hmm
kind of thing.
It's like a racial thing, isn't it? In a sort of capacity to say. And are you going to refer back to this being like Pokemon, where Pokemons live among each other in Detective
huh?
Pikachu? Are you
No,
going there?
no, no,
Ah.
I don't know where you were going with that. To be honest,
No, I think I more meant like in real life. I feel like the Muppets is a race basically in this. In
oh
this,
yeah, 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 yeah.
they're not like any different. It's just they are Muppets instead.
They
And
just inhabit. Yeah,
yeah,
you don't really go. Oh, that looks a bit jarring because say like there's some
Yeah.
ones where there's like some singing sheep doing the song, and yet there's sheep walking around or horses that it's like yeah, there's both exist, but you don't go. That's a bit strange, really, unless you poke holes at it. But it's fine you don't, because it's like it's just a humorous thing that kind of fits into the song and all that kind of stuff. But like
Mhm.
say like the fact of those background characters in with the establishing shot when you kind of seeing over City of London, all that kind of stuff, and all that. I kind of enjoy like say like the vegetables. I have been taken away, and then that other the people hanging out the window and stuff and all that kind of stuff. And
there's a bit with the birds, and there's like a crow or something, and then there's these cats coming out of the window as
yeah,
well, trying to get to them.
and
And it's just so much going on within that first song. And I don't know, because I was looking back at it and trying to critique it and everything like that, I was then realizing how much work and effort has gone into this. Like, everybody is trying to puppeteer
yeah,
some form of way.
Mhm.
And how are you not seeing the strings? How are you not seeing anything like that
yeah,
in?
it's mostly I think done from the lower
Yeah.
But like
part, isn't it?
Kermie as well,
Oh yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
when he's walking and
Yeah.
certain
things like that.
things.
Yeah, I know the fact that they've made a puppet that's probably going to be just used once for that one particular scene as well. Like the time and effort to put that one. It's like, oh, we probably don't see you again until the very end when everybody's singing. But yeah, it's crazy to think about that, for that capacity of stuff, the work that goes into it. But you've got to, you make the city lively with, rather than just having people, you make them lively with Muppets and people as well, and it kind of works in that capacity. What do you think of Michael Caine as Scrooge?
I love him, yeah, and I think it's so good that you don't see his face or anything, or you just have like this, he doesn't say anything at all. You just see like him walking and everything,
Mhm.
and then like the music and everything, and the very first thing you see is like his face, and he's like,
Yeah, yeah. He turns around, he's like, "What are you saying about me?" type thing, and then everyone's like, "No, no, 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 look at the time."
yeah, like we really need to go because everybody's kind of been following him and talking about him, and I suppose in a way, like it kind of gives you that thing of he just doesn't. Because he doesn't care what people think, or if he does it, or he's just so, like, above it, because he's just so not self-absorbed, but he just doesn't even think about what's going on around him. He's more bothered about making money and things like that, and he just doesn't see what's going on. Like, these people are following him and talking about him and everything, and he's just like, "Meh, I'm just gonna carry on about my day and things."
Yeah, he's kind of not, is somewhat so selfish that he's not aware of anyone else around him and what impact he has
Mhm.
on others. So I feel like for me, this time watching it around, because now I'm in a new role in my like accounting role, and obviously that's what Kermit. Sorry, I can't
But yeah, Cratchit, yeah,
catch
yeah.
it, but he's
But Ken,
Kermit.
yeah.
That's kind of, he's like a bookkeeper basically. That's his job, and he's struggling to obviously even ask for like Christmas Day off, bless him.
Mhm.
And all the little other
Rats, yeah,
rats are obviously kind of, it's quite funny, isn't it, that he works with loads of rats and basically then it's just Kermit the
yeah,
Frog
yeah.
in this a bookkeeping
Mhm,
accountancy firm, basically that's what it is.
mhm.
But they don't even have any coal or anything like that. They're not allowed to have the fire on and they have to just be kept in the cold. And I feel like that's somewhat similar to what I'm working in sometimes. They turn the heating off at like 3 o'clock and you're like, so I felt really relatable to Kermit.
I kind of feel a bit relatable in the fact that obviously when I was doing like the freelance stuff, or what it was, the old job where it was kind of like, oh, can I have Christmas off, please? Kind of thing. Because
Yeah,
yeah,
because you're freelance, you wouldn't get
yeah,
it off.
it's like, oh, can I have the day off, kind of thing, or just asking for a holiday, kind of that kind of stuff. So in a way, that's the case. But in obviously like other traditional tellings of the Christmas carols, it's normally just Bob Cratchit on his own. He doesn't have, there's obviously in this case it's rats, but I think that just adds to more the humour, and especially obviously like how would they feel if you were unemployed and then they're all doing yay, it's so hot, 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 or whatever they kind of say, the Hawaiian shirts and skirts and everything they got on, whatever. It's like, oh, it's so cold in here, but that level of humour as well. Obviously, that's like very Muppet, isn't it? Like I think of things like in Muppets Treasure Island as well. They kind of do stuff like that as well. It's kind of funny.
I was like, why have they waited this long till like the end of day on Christmas Eve to ask for it off? I know that they have to make the film, but it grinds my gears because I'm like, why would you wait? Like, this cannot be the first year this has ever happened. Like, no.
True. Think about it. Yeah, I guess obviously that's how Dickens wrote it. So for that capacity, I don't.
Mm.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a bit of a yeah.
And also, wouldn't you want to know if you'd got Christmas off or not? Because I know I would want to know if I was working that day or not.
Unless he's recently joined the firm, that's essentially.
Well, I don't think he has he?
Hmm.
Because it makes him sound like he's been there a
Mm.
while further along in the story. But I also love the way that, like, so basically Scrooge kind of goes, all right, okay, I'm finishing for the day. You all close shop up basically for me,
Mhm.
and walks off. But the way that it's all done, to like the blessing, the little rat's trying to jump up at the window and grab the blinds and all working together as a little team. And I don't know, that scene also I just think feels quite cute and innocent.
Well, it's because it's the magic in the air, and it's Kermit singing the song, so that's obviously a really nice song, isn't
Love
it?
it.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah.
and like I suppose like the childish kind of nature of what Christmas brings out, both in adults, and that's what it always makes me think of because they're being like mischievous when they're playing, and where that little rat comes out, where he's like his when they're cleaning the kind of is it heater thing, and it's like
Oh
got
yeah,
a
Oh
it's the
little
yeah.
sauna.
like
Yeah,
he's in
he's
like
like,
a
yeah,
spa around
yeah,
it,
yeah,
and they're being really mischievous.
yeah. And then when they go outside, it's like, oh, the penguins are doing ice skating and that kind of stuff. It's again another Muppetism, I suppose.
And it just feels so cozy, magical, sweet, and obviously, Kermie's going home to his family as well for Christmas Eve, so you can kind of see that like relief of his boss behind him, and he doesn't have to see him for a day, and he can actually go and enjoy time with his
Exactly.
family, which everybody wants at Christmas. That's kind of what you want to do. You want to clock off, and you want to wind down for a bit, eat as much food as you can, and enjoy yourself with your family, don't you?
Exactly. Yeah. And there's that really nice shot where he's it's almost like a pic you could have as a wallpaper background where Kermit's just like standing in the street and he's like on that side and you can just see the city and he's just standing there looking at the skyline and the shooting star goes across the screen. It's like, oh, so it's really nice, and I think that's almost synonymous with the film as part of the things of like a memorable, like wholesome shot. And I think that was a recurring theme that they did after that. Like with the shooting star, whenever Kermit was there, they had like a moment in other films with that. There would be a shooting star to sort of like that was like a theme of the Jim Henson Company, I think.
Within where they've done that song, I think like that's the one kind of shot that everybody tended to use, don't they? On like social media, it's like only one more sleep till Christmas, and then him just being there. I know, I know, I do it every year. It's
Mhm.
like every single Christmas Eve, I'm there like with my
Yeah.
pajamas on and my white, and that shot always goes on like Facebook or Instagram. It's like only one more sleep till Christmas.
Oh,
That's cute.
I love that. And I think that's what Christmas it should be about. And I think this is what this film gives you. Like, it shows you all your morals, but in such a nice way that you don't feel, I don't know, with the normal, like traditional ones, it's quite hard hitting. Whereas this, you're
That's it.
learning everything that you need to learn, but in a lovely, cute environment.
But I know after shortly after that scene, obviously Kermit's finished singing his song, and then you see that he's walking off, and then you see that little rabbit,
Oh, don't even get
and
me
he's like
started on the
shivering in the cold.
rabbit.
So it's still kind of hard hitting in that sense because like there's still there's still got to remind you of obviously like in Victorian times that was a thing that obviously people still still people still are homeless and struggling in the
But
streets.
also,
Yeah.
Scrooge is really mean to him earlier
Oh
on.
yeah, he was when he's singing. But
Was
he's penny for the song, governor.
And he gets the wreath thrown at him, and it always gets me. And then when I see him homeless as well, and I'm like really like getting upset about this rabbit, and I don't know why I'm so attached to him, but I am.
Do you know what his name is, Emma?
I don't. I didn't even know he was a rabbit. I've seen the film about 9,000 times and I didn't even know he was a rabbit.
All right. What did you think he was?
I don't know, like a bear.
All right. I guess he didn't have really long ears, so I guess you could have thought it was like a
Yeah,
large mouse or something, but
I'm pretty sure it's
yeah.
a rabbit.
No, it's because
Do
he's
you know the name?
yeah, no, I know his name because I did look it up, thinking what animal is he? Because I know you say he's a bunny, or rabbit, but
Oh yeah.
I thought you just being like, oh well, he kind of looks like one, but
Am I
he's
wrong?
no, he's called Bean Bunny, and this is he's apparently from he's been using other Muppets productions before that. I think more TV shows and
Mm.
stuff like that, but this is his only movie related appearance. So let's say like when I was saying before about how they use Muppets for just like one scene or one
Mm.
thing like that. So, but I think he's had a pretty redesign for this film. I think more for again a sentimental reason and to have him be the one also appear later on when he's like, oh, what day is it? It's Christmas Day and all that kind of stuff. So it's reusing him for
Yeah,
that, so it works. But
Yeah, it comes around full circle, and it's
yeah,
okay.
yeah. Because
hmm
when you do see him like cuddled and everything, like you say, like it does bring out you've had that kind of joyous kind of song, and then they don't say anything, but then you realise actually that this has still got a the dark moments, even though it is kind of like a Christmas kind of children's film.
hmm
Mm.
Yeah, and obviously then going on to, like, when Scrooge is going back to his house and sees the Marley on the door knocker and all that kind of stuff. And
That freaked me out when I was little. I was so petrified when the knocker turns into the both Marleys.
Marley, two Marleys in this.
Oh, and then when they arrive in the room, I remember being so scared of both Marleys with the chains. And my mum, she's not daft. I was like, I don't want to end up like them. Well, you're going to have to be a good girl then, Sophie, or all them chains in your life are going to tear you down. And I'm like, Jesus. Like, so then I just had to be really good. That's why I'm such a good girl, Paul. You
Is
see?
that right?
Yeah. From the Muppets.
I love that. I think it's one of the best songs in it. It probably shouldn't make me happy, but it does. It gets me. I proper sing along.
It's like a hard hitting lesson about like not being greedy, but it's like it's a great song.
It is really catchy.
Yeah.
So catchy.
No, I do like it.
And I think the interaction with obviously our Scrooge character, what's his Michael Caine?
Yeah.
Actually thinking about it, how he acts with the Muppets, like actually treating them like they are human beings, basically. I know obviously you can physically see a Muppet there and it's moving.
It's a lot easier than, say, like Space Jam, where Michael Jordan's trying to look at like, I don't know, a tennis ball or something, whatever they use to, like, look at here this way. It's a CG computer generated image where just sort of vaguely look that way, and we'll fix it in post. Whereas this, obviously, because of physical air, it's a lot easier to interact with.
Well, you can look in the right direction, but you still, your expressions and your emotions, you're still acting to a Muppet at the end of the day.
Yeah. I don't know what my favourite song is. Do you have one, like, from throughout the film?
The opener I do adore.
The Scrooge.
And I always sing the la la la. But I always get it wrong when I do it because I don't think it is actually right after I sing it's season to be jolly and joyous. Yeah. Then I do the fa la la, but it's not. It's further down. But I just feel like the fa la la has to come after that now.
Right.
So I'm making up my own remix.
Okay. The one that I'm not too keen on as such for a song, but is when Tiny Tim, or I think Robin is the little frog's name in the Muppets, is doing his.
Tim.
Huh?
Not called Tiny.
No, he's called Tiny Tim, but Robin is the like Kermit and Miss Piggy. Yeah,
right, I got you.
Yeah. His song is, I don't really care. The only thing that's kind of impactful is the fact that he's like coughs at the end of it, which is kind of something that they don't normally do in other iterations of the Christmas Carol, to show the impact that he is actually sick, and because he's going to eventually die if Scrooge doesn't change his ways with it all. What's
he saying when he says it? Depreciate the.
Oh, you better do it quick and decrease the surplus population.
Yeah, I'm the same. Even though it's a nice ballad and stuff, I'm just like a little bored. But when they do this thing, I don't know. It don't properly pull at my heartstrings. But did you know that there's a missing song?
Oh yes, I did know that. Yeah. I wondered if you did.
Look at it.
Did you check it out? Because what I learned was that the fact that it was on Disney Plus, there's like an extras section that you can check out the song on. Like you can scroll through and it's like extras, almost like a DVD or whatever.
Yeah.
And you can scroll through and there's a different version. You can watch the film with the song in, or you can just watch the section where the song is in that was taken out from the film. Love is Gone, the one that Belle sings, and I can kind of see why they took it out, because it was really upsetting for children.
Yeah.
Because Michael Caine's like in tears, and I think that was quite saddening in a way. So the fact that it did that, and because obviously when you watch the normal version and she just kind of walks off and Rizzo's crying, it's a bit jarring. Like, it wasn't that upsetting, dude.
Yeah.
But in the context of the song that was included, then yeah, it makes total sense.
Have you seen the song, Em?
Yeah, we had it on like VHS, so when the original one that we had the song in it, and then when I went to buy the DVD when I was a lot older, when I wasn't allowed to buy it, even though because it was a PG and I was like 17 years old and didn't have any ID, and I was like, I've seen this film about 97,000 times, and they were like, no, you need to have parental guidance. And I was like, I'm 17 years old. And they were like, no, we can't sell you it. I was like, what? But after buying the DVD and then realizing it didn't have it in, and you kind of like, I'm sure. I remember googling it and thinking, have I just made up an entire song that in my head of
Mm,
like, what on earth? Where's it gone? Thinking, I'm sure there was a song. I'm sure there was a song.
mm.
And yeah, I remember I've actually watched it with the original song, and I still miss it now. But I didn't even know you could, because I think we own it on DVD,
Oh,
so I don't think I didn't know you could watch it with the scene in. So I've kind of got used to watching it without the
Mm.
scene in
yeah.
now, but I still miss it if that makes sense.
So I've never seen the extended version with the song before. So my version's always been the original kind of what I would associate the Muppets without the song in. Maybe it was there when I was little, possibly, but I just don't remember it. And growing up, watching it and rewatching it again and again as being older, the first time I've seen it is Paul showing me it the other night, basically, and I was like, "Oh, I didn't know there was an extended version of the Muppets." And I kind of understand, like you said, Paul, why they did cut it out. And I think when you're a bit older and you've got a relationship and you've got a loved one, it kind of, I don't know, for me, it was like, oh, well, if I'm prioritizing work or somebody else or anything, you can kind of understand why that love would separate. And his morals were, oh, I just want more money, instead of spending that money with the people you love.
Mhm.
And when he's older and he's kind of looking at the future, no, well, I can always get this wrong, present,
The past.
past, there we go, we'll get there, shall we? When he's looking at the past and he's proper sobbing at the fact that so it's like old Michael Caine with his younger would have been wife, and I don't know, it just made me get really quite upset by
Mhm.
how much he's missed out on because he's just wanted greed, basically. So
Mm.
I think it's a good way to portray it. Would I want it added in all the time? Probably not.
No, it's good to have the option, I suppose, if
Hmm.
especially if it's on the platform of Disney Plus, where you could do that if you really wanted to. But
Yeah.
like I say, like for majority of my viewings, it's been the case where it's the song's been cut, and I hadn't been like, I just thought, "No, that's a bit weird. Why is Rizzo crying so much in that particular scene after she walks away?" But it's edited in a way that kind of, I guess, the flows to make sense, I suppose. But
Yeah.
there's one part where, going off the topic with it, that is also kind of a bit random, but I don't know why it is the case. There's like a bit where Rizzo says about the jelly beans. He's like, "Oh,
It's you.
they were in my pocket the whole time," and he goes like, Gonzo's like, "Oh," and he's like, "What?" And then he just randomly kisses him on the nose. It's like, huh, what's that? Why does he do that? It seems so random.
I love that bit. I think there's just
Hmm.
bits of the Muppets that of the film I can like quote and I know it's coming up and I get excited.
Yeah,
And that's one of them. Like it's scenes that I remember. So
yeah,
I remember Heatwave when they're getting told off for they're not allowed to have the no more coal and things because it's cold. And then the bit about the jelly beans when he's like, you could fit through the bars this whole time. And he's like,
yeah, yeah.
yes, why? Like it's 'cause he has to go back and get his jelly beans. I don't know why, I just remember it and I get excited every time it comes up, and even though it's something really small and it don't add anything to the story whatsoever, but that there's these little, like, pockets of, like, almost, like, joy, I don't know, just
I get you because it's like almost like cutaways, isn't it, from
Mm,
the main story with the obviously like the, let's say, banter, I suppose, between
yeah.
Rizzo and Gonzo and on that.
I
Yeah,
think
obviously because he's like a narrator that's overlooking
mm,
the story, which I don't think is something that the films do. It's kind of like obviously it's to add to explain to the kids what's going on really with the story. And I think like they say like those little bits, especially when I think it's when he's in the past and Rizzo gets frozen into an icicle, and then like Gonzo gets him out of this freezing thing, and he just smashes him on the table and that kind of stuff. It's like, oh, I should be thankful for that kind of,
yeah.
and or wiping his, clean the window with him and all that kind of stuff, using him as a
yeah.
rag,
I think
things
it
like that.
just brings the Muppet humour across
Yeah,
so much well, having them narrate it throughout, and you get these special moments where, like the jelly bean scene, which I absolutely adore, like because he's up on the high gate, kind of getting scared, thinking he has to climb over and he can't jump down, and then I can actually just fit through it this entire time. And you can see like Gonzo is getting quite annoyed with him, but at the same time, you get the little kiss at the end, so it's like endearing and sweet, and I don't know. I think that's all kind of works
Part
well.
of the charm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like one of my favorite bits is like again like probably like I think it's quotable is like like the lamp not the rat like the lamp not the rat when he sets his tail on fire.
Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff is I love that bit, yeah, because it's just so funny. And things like when the Clayton in where he goes to the present and he falls down the chimneys on the goose and it's like oh I landed on something so it's hot.
Yeah, like he's walking on coals.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just, and I think he gets to show you a little bit more of that like relationship as well in like those little moments, and it's not just they're not somebody who's just delivering it because that's their role to deliver the story. They've still got that relationship. Do you know, I need to probably rewatch a bit more of the movies because I don't. Are they actually that close in like all the other ones? Like, are they more of like a duo?
Yeah, I think they are. Yeah. I think because like and certainly in like Muppets Treasure Island and stuff, they are like that.
Mm.
And I think other things they are more like I don't know when if this is probably like maybe the first time they were kind of
The main
established. I
lead,
don't know
yeah.
when. I think Gonzo's been from sort of almost the start, really.
Mm.
I think I
Yeah.
don't know. Rizzo came in a bit later, I think,
Yeah.
as another side character. Then they kind of introduced him more and more into the Muppets universe, I
Mm.
guess. No, I think it just works on a level to sort of like say like tell the story, but have that humour to go along with it to make it more endearing, really, and break up this. Maybe some of the scary stuff, even though obviously when they come to the Ghost of the Future and they're like, "Oh, you're on your own, kids. We'll see you at the end in the finale," and they just like bugger off. Yeah.
I like that about them though, because it
Yeah.
makes me realise that it is scary and this is the dark part and we don't want to narrate it.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Miss Piggy in this? Because I absolutely adore Miss Piggy. And she is just, I don't know, first of all, I think it's quite funny and comical that the children, if it's a boy, it's a frog. And if it's a girl, it's a pig. Because really, to be fair, if they're going to have children, it would be a half frog pig thing.
Which they did do in I don't know if you've seen Muppets Most Wanted. I think it's one of the newer films where there was like a dream sequence or something where they showed like if they had kids, it would like there was like a green pig and like a pink frog. It kind of looked like a worm in like in the cutaway scene. If you Google it,
I think I'm gonna have to.
you'll see it. It's a bit like ooh. It's a bit weird, but yeah, it makes it obviously like a crossbreed type of thing. That's what it would look like. But yeah, obviously, I think for the sake of the film, it's just probably easier just doing like, oh yeah, just smaller versions of Miss
Yeah.
Piggy.
Feel like Soph's gonna fall out with me, to be fair, because I'm not a Miss Piggy fan.
I will never fall out with you, Em, but I don't know if you can see that. That's what it would look like.
Oh, no, I have nightmares.
About
Yeah.
a green pig and a worm,
Yeah.
basically, which is a pink frog. But I feel like Miss Piggy is one of those things. She's like Marmite. You either love her or you hate her, and I just love her for her sass.
Yeah.
She's not as sassy as she is in normal films or the TV shows or whatever. So yeah, she's not so bad in this. And I think it's not until like maybe halfway through the film that she appears because obviously it's like in the Christmas Present where you can see like in Bob Cratchit's house and stuff, and yeah, she's quite subdued actually. She's not doing the hiya or anything like that, like she normally does in other films. But
I feel like she's just sticking up for a man in this one, isn't she? She just wants the best for her family, and I think she's not. I don't know. I feel like she just wants the best for everybody, and I feel like there's one line where she goes, "Is it?" I always get Bob. It's Bob Cratchit, isn't it? Yeah, and he's saying thank you to Scrooge for presenting the feast,
Yeah.
and she's like, "Feast? What feast? I'm not toasting to Mr. Scrooge." And she's proper, and her head always shakes like this. It just gets me.
And the kids are like,
I feel like the tone of like the girl pigs are literally just mini me's of Miss Piggy, like literally. And then obviously you've got that kind of scene where Tiny Tim's like kind of agreeing with his dad somewhat, like, oh yeah, like the founder of the feast. And she's like, hardly giving you anything. And I feel like that's a woman kind of portrayed really well in Miss Piggy. Like the man can be kind of grateful and thinks he's got a lot, and the woman's like, "Have you?"
I'm going to be realistic about this. You know, you need to have more.
You deserve more. Like you do a lot for this person, and they pay you a pittance. It's not fair. And I think women seem to be able to find out what is right and fair and even a lot more easy than a male perspective. I don't know. I really think that scene is the maker or breaker of it, isn't it? Because without Scrooge seeing that
Yeah, you know,
and seeing Tiny Tim's
will Tiny
poorly,
Tim live? And it's like, I see a crutch, you know, in the leaning against the wall or chair with no, yeah, that kind of
Yeah.
line. And obviously, I think that's you know, ambiguous, but not really, because you know, they just say he's not going to live if you don't change your ways, basically.
yeah, he's gonna die.
Well, yeah, because when he goes and sees when he goes and sees his nephew and they're playing that game in the pit, do you not think his nephew is really mean in that scene when he's like, he's an unwanted creature and stuff. I'm like, I know he's being horrible and I know he's being selfish and like I know they don't know that he's there,
Mhm.
Mm,
but I'm like, you're still talking about somebody who you've been and you've seen the day before,
Mhm.
like, and you've said it's family and you've invited him to come. Like I know at the beginning he's like, well, you can come and have Christmas dinner with me and Clara.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And then you go see that scene, and I'm like, "What? Are you not being unnecessarily mean there?" Like, I don't know.
No,
I,
I get what you mean, because like in the one that I watched with my mum and dad, and the nephew in that is more caring and kind. He's like, oh, you know, like I will always ask him to invite him to Christmas, because you know, like I'm that kind of way inclined about things. And Clara is like, oh, you're too kind, kind of thing. And that he's sticking up for Scrooge, even though he knows he's grumpy and all that kind of stuff. Whereas, yeah, in this he's a bit spiteful in
mm,
a way, like unnecessarily. But there's nothing really established in this. I know it's for kids and kind of just like, I'll just get to the thing and just saying that he doesn't really care
yeah.
for too much for
There's
him. But
nothing rekindled with his
yeah,
family,
it's
is
not
there?
really delved into much. Whereas other ones, is probably is more so, and there's more reason to go into that. But it's fine. Yeah.
I feel like it's one of those things where Scrooge is. I don't know. I feel like if you have one of those people in your life that's a family member where it's okay for you to slag them off, but if anyone else did it, you'd be like, your back could go up. Like, how can you talk about that person like that? Only I'm allowed to kind of slag them off, and you love them because they're family, and you wouldn't disown them or anything like that, even though you know what kind of character they are.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's kind of what Scrooge is. He's selfish, he's greedy, he doesn't care about anybody else, and he just wants to sit on a pile of money. And I think the moral of it is basically, well, once you die, you can't take your money with you. The Egyptians tried; it's obviously still there. So,
It's their beliefs. Yeah.
yeah,
yeah.
you might as well just enjoy your life while you're here, basically in the present.
It's obviously ultimately that's why.
I'm proper tickled, Emma.
Only so can bring up the Egyptians.
We wouldn't have their money still, would we, if it were like in the tombs? Otherwise, it'd go with him. So we know that that's factually not right.
Yeah, it's like a shelf of DVDs and
Yeah,
Blu-rays and stuff. It's like
pointless.
they're not gonna they're not gonna come with me and be
No,
like,
they're
oh
not, Paul. They're really not, darling. They might be in your memories,
yeah,
but they're not. The actual physical thing's not going to come with you.
yeah. I have a digital library
Not getting buried with them.
instead.
Imagine, I need a massive coffin. I love how I'm thinking about you dying, putting you in with your DVDs. Like I'm not even sounding sad about it. What's going on?
It's like, right, just too much room.
We've gone very sinister for the
I know.
Muppets here, haven't we? There is. I will tie it back in though.
Mm.
So when we do see Scrooge dying, and we kind of see it in his.
We don't see him dying. We see his
Well,
gravestone.
no, yeah, we see that he's dead, basically. There we go. And the scene where everyone's like stealing all this stuff. Oh, I've just taken off this bedding, it's still warm, and all of that kind of seedy environment where actually everything you've worked, earned for, lived for means nothing now because you're dead, and everyone else is just gonna
reaping the rewards,
yeah.
selling it on for
Yeah.
quick buck. Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel a bit like when I see that, that was one of my like least favorite parts because yes, okay, he's being an absolute twat,
Mm.
but at the same time, no one
Yeah,
really
and
cares
when
for
he
him,
says who
wants to
it,
be
and he's
there,
like,
and
I know
just
these people,
basically want to take all his stuff.
and you're like, oh. I think it's finally hit him fine that people have been talking to him, talking about him behind his back, and like when at the beginning of the film when they're all singing about him and he was all a bit in his own world, he's actually realizing that people were talking about him. And
Mhm.
I think that is kind of everybody's like a bit of a fear, like if people are like, oh. Do people talk about me like that? Like if you hope to be a good person, and I'm like, no, people don't talk about me like that.
Exactly, and I think that's the thing. You are a good person, though, Emma. I'll just reassure you on that one because you are. But also, it does make you think. Well, I wonder what people do say about me.
Mm.
But also, what legacy you leave when you do die. So,
Yeah, you obviously want to leave a good impression with people rather than if you're stingy tight ass.
I'm
Then
like,
yeah,
oh, good riddance.
yeah,
Thanks,
yeah.
you're
So,
gone.
and that's no second thought on you. Yeah.
And people only wanting to go at your funeral because they're gonna have it's like there's gonna be a free land.
Yeah, yeah. It's quite sad, really, when you think about it, isn't it?
Hmm.
And I think that's what this film kind of gives you. And every year, it kind of gives me that bit of awakening. Like if I've been a bit of an ass, or I've not been there or been as present as you want to be because life just kind of kicks you in the face, it kind of makes you think, actually, there is a reason why you need to be like that with people and make an effort and, care for people. And I think yet again, you're going to tell me off, it kind of links back to It's a Wonderful Life, doesn't it?
Yeah, you kind of reflect on that, and it's like, oh, you change your ways because of that. You're thinking,
Mhm.
oh, this is how my life would be if
Yeah.
that would be the case. Yeah, and so like, oh, I will.
And what impact do I
Yeah,
have on
have for people.
others
Yeah.
to improve their life? So, for example, Scrooge improves Bob Cratchit and his family's life by increasing his
Salary,
salary.
paying off his mortgage. Yeah.
Exactly. And then that makes him have a better life. Whereas if Scrooge stuck in his ways, then it could have gone a darker path.
Hmm. I do think about it, it's probably my favorite song. When he's what's it called? Thankful Heart is when Michael Caine's singing at the end, and he's gathering all the people to get the food and all the stuff together to take to Bob Cratchit. I think it's probably my favorite song.
Oh, that is such a good song,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah, and you see him
I
obviously.
don't like it.
Oh, do you not? Oh, really? Oh,
Say that I
No,
love the Muppets, and then she's like, I don't like.
I think it's because everybody gets involved, and I'm like, where are all these people coming from? This house is not that big, and I'm like,
true,
I like it,
true. Yeah,
and
they're standing in the street. Yeah.
yeah, and I know I do think it's a good song. I just think it go, and
Mm.
I think if it was a teeny tiny little bit shorter, I probably would like it. But I think because it's near the end, well, it is the end of the film.
Yeah.
I always want it to be a bit more uplifting, a bit more joyous. Where I think it's a bit of a warbler.
Warbler. I am thinking of the right one, aren't I?
Thankful Heart. Yeah, yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Everyone's yeah, that's the one. Yeah, yeah,
Am I?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The one that
Am I thinking of the right film now?
yeah, it's where I think if you're on about the fact that everyone's crowding in the house, it's that one when
Is it The Love We Found?
yeah, love is found. It's like almost like the reprise of When Love Is Gone. Obviously, in contrast to when the cut song that was sung by Belle. So
Yeah.
it's like twisted, and they're all singing at the very end just before the credits come on. That's
The
when it
love we found,
found,
and then the
and
sleigh.
Oh,
everybody's
yeah.
crowded in that house, and they're all singing the street. That's I don't care for that too much, but it's like
No.
how like one, how have they cooked the turkey so quick because it wasn't even cooked when they took it to the house. So it's like you've got to leave that for like how many
It was
hours?
huge as well.
Yeah,
Also, the little rabbit having to carry it, bless him, and it's like double his size, and he's like this with the turkey.
All those shocks are meant to be closed.
true. But
Yeah.
maybe it was different in the Victorian times, not like nowadays where it's like no, we're closed for Christmas, mate.
Well, to be fair, they used to close for 2 weeks, I think, at Christmas. Like, I remember my mum remembering, like, no shops would be open, and that's why you'd have to do your big shop because the actual shops would not be open on like Boxing Day or the day after.
Mhm.
You would have to live 2 weeks without going to the actual shops. It'd be everything's closed for
Yeah.
2 weeks of Christmas.
Mhm.
Imagine that now. Everyone would go
Oh
into
god.
chaos and they wouldn't
Yeah,
know
they
what to
would,
do with
yeah.
themselves.
No, everybody's like, I've run out of milk. Done. Got no bread.
Yeah.
Everyone panics when you have a bit of snow, and that always happens. I remember one time at uni that happened, and it's like, oh no, gotta get milk and bread from the co-op, and it was like it's sparse because it's like,
Yeah.
like, oh, it's the end of the world, gotta get rations.
I mean, like COVID with the
Yeah.
toilet paper.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's
And
more
panic
recent.
buying pasta.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh dear.
Mm.
Oh, is there anything else, Emma, we want to?
So I made notes, and in typical kind of school day fashion,
Mhm.
the dog ate them.
He actually
The dog
did.
ate my homework.
Oh, that it I think the bit I like the things that I do like about the film is that one of the things I think that makes it a bit more like timeless is that although I tried reading the book, tried so hard, but it's just so like, long. Because I think they got it, but I like how they like pull like, like lines of the actual book itself to go along with the film. So it's like just they haven't just like made dialogue to kind of make the
Up to
film
date for the
flow
kids.
easier.
Yeah,
They've,
yeah,
yeah, today and things like that. They've actually used like the way that the book's written it. Like the bit about the Tiny Tim, and he goes, "Tiny Tim, who did not die."
yeah,
Yeah.
Is
yeah,
there not a way you could have like said that a bit nicer? But no, that's the way it was actually. It's actually
yeah.
written in the book.
Oh wow, that's amazing. I love that.
You're like, oh, okay. But yeah,
I do like that line as well because it's quite like harsh, but then cheery the way he goes, "Did not die," and he's like so kind of like it's like a backhanded one in it. It's a bit weird,
Yeah, yeah.
but I love it.
But the delivery of it works well. Yeah,
He's
so, yeah. But obviously, like obviously the things like you keep Christmas in your way, and I'll keep it in mine. And those kind of things that it's a fine thing of like picking a man's pocket every December 25th and all that kind of stuff. So there's incorporating that stuff. And I'm guessing that what Gonzo says at the beginning, like the Marleys were dead from the beginning. That's probably from the start of the book, isn't it? Actually, yeah,
yeah, that
yeah.
and you're like, oh, this is going to be interesting to like watch because you're kind of thinking, how's it gonna like set it to set the tone. And I think in that way as well, it's probably a good one for like parents that are watching it with the kids and maybe have read the book and then they're like, oh, okay, and then
Mhm.
it's one of those. It's not just a kids' film. It is a family friendly film.
Mhm.
yeah.
When I go to when I still lived at my parents, my dad used to be like, "What are we? All right, we're gonna put Christmas Carol on now, 8 o'clock, and everybody's had the tea and poured the drinks."
Mhm.
And we'd put it on and everybody would sit round and watch it. There's only two films that we ever watched in our house at Christmas,
Mhm.
and that was Christmas Carol, Muppets Christmas Carol, and then Sound of Music.
I'm waiting for her to say a Christmas film, and then she said Sound of Music. I was like, huh?
All right. We haven't seen that actually, but
No.
maybe that's something we should cover next year. I think because I know it's quite long though, isn't it, Emma?
It's like 3 hours something.
What?
Yeah, it's real. It's a Sunday film. I feel like when you're a little
Oh,
bit
Sunday
hungover,
afternoon,
yeah, and
Oh,
you
yeah.
can just chill on the sofa because it is very long.
there you go.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, but on the topic, there's certain films that feel like not necessarily inherently Christmas films, but they're kind of always things like Mary Poppins or Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh, the
They kind of
Wizard of Oz.
yeah,
That
they're
Yeah,
kind of synonymous with Christmas.
they're always
They're always on
on the telly
telly.
after Christmas or like round Boxing Day,
Day,
aren't
yeah,
they?
yeah,
yeah. Don't know, yeah, somehow a tradition, but I think it's just because they're timeless classics, really, and everyone enjoys them.
And Willy Wonka, you're eating all the chocolate anyways at
Yeah,
Christmas,
so
so you can
yeah,
relate.
yeah, yeah. I do like at the fact at the very end when it's like, oh, thanks for watching the film, and it's like, if you like this, you should read the book, and I think that's a good way, obviously, like to nod to the kids as well, like go read some literature as well as
Mm.
watch the film and learn more of the dialogue from that period and stuff, and get you more involved. So it's kind of a good thing for them to do that.
I think it's just like a historical piece within the Muppets, like so you kind of get in the history somewhat, and the morals and lessons and learnings all in a Christmassy kind of Muppet performance.
Yeah, nice Christmas, all nicely wrapped in a Christmas bow.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, I've only got two other things to bring up, I think, and then we'll go to the scoring. I think. Well, I think we kind of know what it's going to be, but the fact that it did mostly well at the box office, but it suffered a little bit due to the fact it had competition from Home Alone 2,
Ooh.
which is like if you were to go, if there was, which would I guess you would probably go see Muppets if you had the choice. If you were of that era, 1992, and you were of an age where you can go to the cinema, you'd go see the Muppets, I presume, Emma.
I would go because I don't like Home Alone, so I wouldn't have gone to see Home Alone
What
2.
is happening, Emma? What is? I don't understand. I've never met anyone who said them words before. I thought we were friends.
I know, I'm sorry.
This is a whole new debate that I want to
Oh,
unravel.
God. Well, before you go into that, see previous episode for our Home Alone 1 and 2 review.
Maybe we
Go
should
on.
have had Emma on there.
Yeah, go on.
Reasons why not to
Yeah,
like Home
come on.
Alone. Go on.
Oh, I can't. I can't. I don't. I've tried watching it, and I just think I can understand, right? It's a timeless classic when I put my teeth in, but I find him annoying. I find the whole family annoying. The only people I like are the burglars.
To be fair, they're the best part.
Yeah.
They are, but and the weird pigeon dove lady. Is that the first or the second one?
That's the second film.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, and I won't get started now because she creeps me out. But so I think I have seen the second one,
Right.
but I just
Just for our listeners and so everyone can vision my face, I literally think I'm doing the part where Kevin gets all the aftershave and puts it on his face and he's like
Sure.
mouth wide open.
feel like I've like negative 20 points or something now in like friendship score.
I am shocked, Emma. I am shocked. I was waiting for her to love Home Alone. She surprises me every time.
Yeah,
You keep me on my toes. I can't say
Yeah,
you don't.
I couldn't have predicted that, to be fair. I thought you would be like, oh, I love it because it's like it feels very Christmassy, especially the first one.
yeah.
She's shocked
Yeah,
me.
that's. I don't think I've ever met anybody who says outright goes, I don't
I
like
just don't like
them.
it. Yeah,
Home Alone,
Yeah.
like no.
like if it was on the telly and it was the only thing to watch,
Hmm.
I'd probably read a book.
I'm blinking frantically. I have one more important question.
Okay.
This is a deal breaker. You know I'm
No,
gonna
I don't know, but I'm scared what you're going to say and what the outcome, the answer's going to be. Coming.
Emma,
Yeah.
is Die Hard a Christmas film?
Don't worry, there's no judgment.
I won't hate you.
No,
You saying? Are you only saying no because I think it is a
I
no?
don't think it's a Christmas
Yeah.
film. I think it's a film. Well, obviously it's a film.
It's a film.
It's a film based around Christmas.
Yeah. And also, I feel like Die Hard is not one that you would watch just specifically at Christmas. It's one that you can watch year round. Therefore, not a Christmas film. Like obviously Muppets Christmas Carol, you wouldn't watch in like February. You just no, it's not got the same message. Where Die Hard, you can watch it, you can be like, oh, I wish it was snowing.
Oh, I'd like my tree up. I agree with Emma. Now she's just gone like sky high.
You're back in the good
She's
book.
back up.
Yes,
That was a deal breaker. If she'd have said yes, I'd have been like, she's breaking my heart.
but
Was there one other point you said you'd got?
Yeah. It was the fact that this was originally planned to be a television special.
Well, like a Christmas special.
Just like made for TV film, that you get
Oh.
sometimes. Which, interestingly enough, there was a different Muppets film that was a Christmas related that was made for television, which came out many years later, like 2000s, I think, which we might cover next year because
Christmas.
next Christmas. So look forward to that in the future.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to remember that now in
Yeah,
a
no,
year's time.
I'll bank that. But yeah.
I don't think I've even heard of that one. I think it's because I think this is one that you are like. I've seen Muppets Treasure Island. That's the only other Muppets one I've seen.
Mm.
But this is the one that I always go back to. I do like Muppets Treasure Island, though.
That is a good one, to be fair.
Yeah,
That's
those are the two, like,
yeah,
high ones. Yeah.
100%.
Did you see the one with was it Jason Segel or whatever he's called in it? The one that was, I don't know, it was a few late mid 2010s. It was just called The Muppets, and it had that character called Walter in, and it was like a redoing of the thing that they were getting the group together and
They had a show that they were going to
like
host.
a telethon and yeah.
Yes, I have seen it. It's not stuck in my head though, so I wouldn't be able to say any details of it. But I have seen it.
This is why I love Emma, because she's just like me. If it's not notable and worthy, it just goes in the trash bin in your head, and it's like, gone. I'm not valuing that.
I'm like, I won't be watching that again.
Oh, I literally could talk about the Muppets though, Christmas Carol, all day long and still be happy. And even like, for example, as we watched it, well, we watched it with my sister and then we kind of recapped again, didn't we? And watched it. And I'd still watch it again and towards Christmas. I feel like I could watch that so many times and not get bored of it.
Because whereas rewatch again, like thinking, oh, I'll just take notes. I didn't end up taking actually any more notes. I kind of just like so engrossed in watching the film again. It's like I think I just skipped through a couple of the songs and I just see if it would pick up anything on the obviously like for like the camera work and or anything like that. But I mean, it's pretty flawless in how it tackles it. You know, they say like with the Victorian style and all that kind of stuff, and the sort of like what's synonymous with, you know, oh, that's where like the sort of story of ghost story sort of originated from at that point in time, really. So it can have that atmosphere and creepy, and but also the fact of how things in this film kind of work in a way that's still like pleasant as well and happy and joyous, and you kind of just go along with it, and you can't really fault anything about it, really. You might nitpick some of the things like we've done, but
It's
in
minor in
all,
comparisons. Yeah.
Because I rewatched it and I did take notes, but then I also made Donnie like pause it so that I didn't miss any of the film, even though I've seen it 97,000 times, and I was actually talking before it even said anything, and I was still like, you need to pause, even though I knew what was coming up. I just go like, I don't want to miss anything.
I do know what you mean, and it's one of those things where it's just everything's golden, and it is so quotable as this film that the amount of times that you've watched it over and over again, you just have so many lines that stick with you from it, and I think that's what makes it just a family pleaser in total.
And one that you kind of watch every year.
Every year, like Home Alone. So, are we making Emma vote first?
Well,
so we do it from 1 to 10 if you don't remember.
But
10 being the highest, 1 being the lowest.
So, Emma, what is your score?
9.5.
Ooh.
9.5.
Yeah.
What would make it a full 10?
I don't know. 10. Put the song back in, so I feel like if I need to rewatch I'm gonna have to rewatch the full thing, and yeah, get rid of the creepy. I think it brings it down. It's just that the creepy doll thing always brings it down for me. But I think if we, no, what if I'm no, I'm gonna go to 10. I'm gonna change it to a 10 because I feel like it's one of those things. It's not aged well, but it's still such a good film. So 10.
I thought, yeah, that, honestly, when you said 9.5, I think, what the hell? Like, I think it's got to be a 10, but
Gotta be a 10.
It's yeah, and despite the fact that obviously I haven't grown up with the film and everything, I love the Muppets, and it's got. I can't really find many faults with it all. They're very, very minor things if you're going to go into great detail with stuff. So it's a 10 from me.
I have to think long and hard about this one. I really, really do. I mean, Emma just gave it a 9.5 and then bumps it up by a 0.5. For me, it's a no-brainer. It's absolutely wonderful. It gives me so much joy. I adore it. It's colourful, it's vibrant, and then it's got Jim Henson as the, obviously, sadly, it does credit to him as well.
Yeah, because it was came out after the fact.
Yeah, but they still carried on and did a really good job for his name and everything. And it's just beautiful, and it's the Muppets. So it's a massive, massive 10 from me. I think it's a 10 all around. And I think it's really nice to end on a Christmas high.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I can't say like a better film to end the month out with, really, as a review. And want to thank you once again, Emma, for joining us on this episode.
Thank you for inviting me.
I've really enjoyed it.
Me too.
And you've got an Instagram page, haven't you, Emma? And you'd like to plug that if you would.
M_Hayton.
Yep, that's right. I remember this because I always use Emma's when we do the Patreon part, because I can't say Shani's for the life of me. I cop out every time. Whereas Emma's is so easy to say.
Yeah, nice and easy, yeah.
Yeah. So if you do want to follow Emma and you think she's amazing like I do, then please go look at her Instagram page, and it'll probably be spammed with loads of doggy pictures because Lenny's beautiful.
Yeah. So thank you once again, Emma, for joining us, and happy Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
See, exactly. Merry Christmas, Paul.
Yeah.
That's why you went wrong. Merry.
Should have said, God bless us, everyone.
One and all.
This time I'm going to go, achoo. I have no idea why.
Well, thanks very much, Emma, again. Happy Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.